Welcome to Universal Man, where we turn your flight into fight so that you can master yourself and conquer your goals. My name is Mark Weppett, and I am here to help you sharpen your masculine edge. And in today's video, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about how you can view your comfort as currency to pretty much buy more or less everything. I think your comfort is one of the things that you can trade for most of the good things in life. And learning how to manage your comfort properly is, that might be the most important resource that you can manage. So if you want to learn the ins and outs of this, that you can become a successful comfort investor, well then, this is the video for you. I think if we're all being honest with ourselves, we all kind of know that nothing good in life is going to come free. The good stuff, it's going to have a price to it. And, often the better the thing is, the higher the price tag. And this is tough, right? This is tough. And a lot of times we think about this in terms of money, right? We think about, okay, well, yeah, that big house, that fancy car, that comfortable lifestyle, that's going to be bought with money. But what is money? I mean, money is a representation of time, of energy, of opportunity. But I think one of the best ways that you can think about money is in terms of comfort. That's what it symbolizes. A bunch of people every single day, they go out to jobs that they trade their comfort for money. That's what they do. And a lot of them, they wouldn't be doing these jobs if they had enough money and comfort already. If they didn't need to mine from the comfort mine, the money that they needed to get more comfort, well, then they wouldn't be doing these kind of things, right? And just like with money, comfort can operate on debt. Okay. And I call this kind of your pleasure credit card, as it were. And a lot of people get into bad water with that sort of thing. And so one way you can think about it is like every time that you reach for some sort of indulgence, every time you do that pleasurable thing that might have a cost in the long run, it's like you're swiping your pleasure credit card. To frame this properly, okay, you have to understand that there is a good and healthy way to use your pleasure credit card. Like if you work out regularly and you eat relatively well on a regular basis, for you to swipe that pleasure credit card and indulge in some sweets and, big, maybe, fast food meal semi-regularly, you're probably going to be fine because, you've got the balance in your bank account to cover that swipe of credit. Right? You're not going to suffer too many major consequences. But say you don't work out. Say you don't eat relatively well. Say you pretty much are always swiping that pleasure credit card. You're always eating, junk food and, fast food and that kind of stuff. Well, what's going to happen is that you're going to develop a pleasure debt. Okay, and this pleasure debt, it's going to hang around on you in some form or another. For, most people, it's going to be in the form of a big old gut. And it's like the bank of comfort and currency is saying that, okay, if you're not going to pay up front with the comfort of working out and, trading your comfort for the discipline of working out and eating well, then you're going to pay for it in terms of being overweight. And that's going to be your discomfort. Everything that you want, there's some kind of balance to it. Someone's paying the price somewhere. And I think in our culture of like immediate gratification, it's so easy to like run up an astronomical, pleasure credit card debt. Okay. And you can get yourself in this hole that's very difficult to get out of. So porn addiction is a great example of this. When you use porn as a substitute for learning how to authentically master your sexuality or learning how to deal with the struggles of life. Like if you reach for porn to make yourself feel better every time you're horny, stressed, bored, lonely, anxious, tired, whatever, well, that's you just swiping that card, just pressing that pleasure button, and you're going to build up a huge debt, and that's going to be the form of a porn addiction. You're going to be sexually compelled. You're going to be sexually obsessed. You're going to lose your ability to self-motivate. You're going to lose your ability to face discomfort. Everything that you try to do is going to seem harder than it actually is. And on top of that, you're going to have to live in a life that's been constructed primarily by maybe one of the path of least resistance, and usually a life constructed by this path of least resistance is one that's very uncomfortable to begin with. So it's like my life sucks. So I swipe my pleasure credit card, which then makes my life suck more, which then makes me want to swipe this card even more and more. This is the black hole of escapism that I think so many men fall into today. And, I get it because it's hard. A lot of times we venture down that road without realizing what we're getting into, and you're in a hole and you don't know how to get out of it. You're trying to get out of it, but it's like, oh crap, I realized this too late, and now things just kind of suck. So what's the solution? Well, to put it plainly, you got to start paying the price. Okay, you need to start trading your comfort for the things that you want. You got to pay off the debt. And this is not an easy thing. And so you need a plan. Like if you've got a bunch of credit card debt and student loans and things like that, you might need to get yourself on you definitely need to get yourself on a very clear plan. Like you need to work with a financial advisor, maybe consolidate some of your debt, and then make a plan for, all right, I'm going to pay off these high interest things first. I'm going to focus on that. And you got to go at it systematically, strategically, whatever, if you want your best shot of doing it. And the same thing goes with getting out of pleasure debt. You need to have a plan that you're going to use to get yourself from point A to point B. But as you do this, if you construct this good plan and you start trading the comfort, you start showing up and investing properly, well, your life's going to start changing. You're going to start shedding that old crap that's holding you back and making your life worse, and you're going to start living a life that's a lot better because you're going to be buying the good things, the things that make life fulfilling and comfortable and that sort of stuff with strategic investments of your comfort. And this is what discipline is. That's, I would say that this is kind of a definition of discipline. And as you get good at this, magic really starts to happen. You actually realize, oh, wow, I'm doing good enough to the point where I can actually take on more discomfort. It's like you've built up enough surplus, enough discipline in your life so that things that were previously beyond your reach or unthinkable seem like, yeah, maybe I could take that on. Maybe I could start that new business. Maybe I could, run that marathon. Maybe I could get out there and start dating. Maybe I could, write that book I've been putting off. Whatever it is for you, whatever that big goal is, it's going to be very difficult to really go after that while you're in the hole. Sometimes you have to. That's just the way it is. But for a lot of people, for them to really sustainably pursue something bigger than themselves, more of like a vocational sort of thing, they got to get their baseline shit together. Now, the thing is, even if you get good, even if you get comfortable with discomfort, it still is never fully comfortable. It's never going to be easy, especially when you start taking on bigger stuff. And this is kind of what I'm experiencing right now. It's that like big things are still big. They're still they can be massively destabilizing. So, I've done a lot of work on myself, a lot of work on my discipline and that sort of thing, but I'm often overwhelmed and stressed. Like, for example, today I had like a migraine all day, and it's entirely stress induced because I'm trying to move across the country. I'm trying to write this course. I'm trying to build my website. I'm trying to do these streams all the time. I'm trying to manage my coaching clients. I'm trying to be a good husband. I'm trying to see friends. I'm trying to, live life big, like aim high and go for it all. And it's just incredibly difficult. In the past, my strategy was to pretend like I had stuff really, really figured out and that it was super easy. And certain things I do have figured out and they are easy. But just because you have some things figured out doesn't mean you don't. Like there's a lot of guys out there who are, gurus or whatever, and they hide the fact that they're still struggling, and I just don't buy that. So I'm trying to make my struggles more apparent to you guys here. Like today I had a screaming fit where I was just pounding on the bed because I was so pissed off and overwhelmed. And I'm a very controlled, strong person, and it still got to me. If you've never had to go for a drive just so you could scream your lungs out and yell because you're so frustrated, angry, and overwhelmed, either you're way stronger than me, which is possible, but I don't know, I'm a pretty strong person, or you've never done anything really hard. You've never really pushed yourself. And maybe you're thinking, Mark, you're pushing yourself too hard. Clearly, if you're getting to that point, then, something's wrong. You're imbalanced. You're going off the edge. And no, I don't think I am. I just think I know the price. I know my limits. I'm not at my limit. I know what's dysfunctional. I know what's sustainable because I've done enough stuff at this point. And I'm just paying the price. And part of that price is being really freaking overwhelmed sometimes. That's the price. That is the comfort bank has set the price on this thing at overwhelm, and you got to voluntarily step into it. And I think anybody who's really done anything of value, they'll have these stories. They know exactly what I'm talking about, and you can't be afraid of that because that's the way it works. And it has to be the way it works, right? No one's gonna buy a story of a hero that, like, you know, he saves the day and beats the villain and overcomes all odds and doesn't even break a sweat. No one believes that story because it's not real. It doesn't actually exist. Because if that was the case, well, then everybody would have just done it. It wouldn't have taken a hero. It would have just been doable. It would have just been normal and not a big deal. But, you know, big things are a big deal. There's no way around it. And ultimately, it's doing these challenging things that lets you tap into satisfaction, that lets you tap into fulfillment, because you know that what you did was just hard. It was difficult. Maybe not for other people or whatever, but it was hard for you. And that is the key. You want to be someone that you admire. And the only way you can be someone that you admire is if you do things that are tough. You know, you're never going to admire yourself for doing something easy. It's like, who cares? Who cares if you did something easy? Do the thing that's tough. Do the thing that's challenging. You know, be that person that you, it's like, I'm just thinking of like the porn addiction stuff, like learning how to be a man that you respect and behave like that man in private when no one sees you. That's the key to really liking yourself. Right. And a lot of people, they think if they hide away all their dark crap, then, you know, it's not going to affect them, or, you know, it's going to prevent them from feeling bad about themselves because no one will see it. And it's not true. You see it. You see it. You see your own bullshit. And so it's like, you got to be strong for yourself, let alone anyone else who's relying on you. Here's the thing. So what I'm saying is, all right, we got to properly manage our comfort, right? And when you get better and better at that, you can start aiming for bigger and bigger things. But my point is that even if you start aiming for these bigger things, it's still really freaking tough. So what can you do? Well, how can you make this doable? And the way that I've come up with, or it's really kind of the way that everybody does it, it's just that I'm articulating it, is that you need to have your little investments, your little bargains where, you know, a little bit of comfort brings a lot of pleasure and security and that kind of thing. You want to get those things nailed down into routines, and they form your bedrock. The more solid your routines and your baseline habits are, meaning the more comfort that you can extract for minimal effort, the more you can push yourself in other areas. So, for example, one of the big ones that I've started this week that is, you know, I'm loving it so far. It's a little investment, gives me huge gains, and it's stupid, or it might sound stupid, but it's great. I've been getting up every morning. I've been taking a contrast shower. I've been styling my hair, and then I've been putting on clothes that don't make me look like a hobo. Now, I'll explain to you why I chose this and why it has an impact. It may not be the same for you. If you get up and go to work every day and look sharp, then you may already be reaping the benefits of this to some degree. But for me, I struggle to get up in the morning. I'm a very good sleeper. I'm a very deep sleeper, and it takes a lot for me to get out of, like, woken up. I don't know. My brain has a very long boot time. I'm like drunk when I first wake up. So contrast shower wakes me up. And that's a contrast shower is where you start warm and then you end cold, or you start warm and you go cold and warm and cold and warm. So it's like pleasurable in the beginning. And then by the time I'm kind of woken up a little bit, I turn on that cold and that jolts me awake. Okay. Then I style my hair. And the reason I style my hair is because my hair looks stupid if I don't style it, because I have an afro in the front and it looks retarded. And I've been trying to do a lot more like, social media stuff, and I've noticed that when, you know, I hold myself back and I won't do good things for myself because I won't put more social media up because I look silly and, you know, unkempt, and so I just knock that out in the morning, and then I put on clothes, which kind of feeds into that, instead of just wearing my sweatpants and hoodie that I wear every single day. Because I work for myself and I don't have to impress anyone, but, you know, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. So it's like through like 10 minutes of effort, I'm getting all these little neurochemical wins that carry over for the rest of the day. And this is not negligible. When you are at your limit, you know, you're pushing yourself in a way that, like I said, it's causing, you know, you to break down and scream and yell and have to, like, feel overwhelmed and that kind of stuff. These little things matter. They are the tipping point things that'll keep you on the side from going bankrupt, if that makes sense. It's like, Going bankrupt in this pleasure debt analogy is when you give up, you retreat, and you just like go back into your little hidey hole of comfort, and then you stop. You lose your capacity to buy what you want with your comfort. You lose your capacity to push yourself. And so these things, they are investments that pay off very big when practiced over the long run. So other things that fit into this category, I would say, is working out. Going to the gym, that's going to have this ripple effect throughout your life, where neurochemically it's going to help you out on a lot of different levels. It's going to help you out in the way that you feel about yourself, the way that you look, your overall energy levels, all that kind of thing. I would say prayer or some kind of meditation, something like that, some sort of a moral self-reflection and meditation upon higher principles and values. That's going to have a major effect in your life. Good sleep is going to have a major effect in your life. And so like you get these little things locked down and they increase your overall reservoir of comfort. And so that's what allows you to take on the bigger and bigger things. And so it's important to note that you can't build up all these kind of habits at once, all right? Because building a habit is much more costly than maintaining a habit. And so for a lot of guys, their plan for getting out of pleasure debt is going to look like building up this stuff first, building their solid foundation. Because, if you try to start going to the gym, start writing your new novel, apply for that new job, change your eating style, do all this stuff at once, you're just going to bankrupt yourself like that. And you're going to fall immediately back into old patterns and nothing's going to change for good. So it's like, all right, take the time, figure out what's going to give you the most bang for your buck right now. Okay. And you're going to know what that is more or less. You're going to know, all right, what's the one thing I could do that's going to make my life a lot better if I'm doing it all the time? All right, well, get that on lock first. Spend a few weeks on it, maybe even a month or whatever. It depends on how hard it is. Like quitting porn is one of those kinds of things where it's like, all right, you invest a bunch of energy into this, but once you do it, it's really forced a lot of other stuff into order in your life, and that's super powerful. But yeah, you got to work through your plan. You got to build up your solid foundation, and then you can really start taking on this big stuff. I'm not gonna feed you the BS that you can just go out and make your dreams happen right now. You might not be strong enough. I know, just plain and simple, you might not be strong enough. You might not have the discipline. You might not have the drive. You might not have the reservoir of comfort and the comfort with discomfort to make that happen. So, pay the price. Sometimes the price is patience. But as long as you're making forward progress, as long as you're moving that needle just a little bit and you're intentionally lining yourself up, lining your plans and your goals up so that you can continuously move that needle, you're going to be motivated. You're going to be driven because you're going to feel yourself growing. You're going to feel yourself shedding that pleasure debt and connecting with that person that you want to be. And I think in order to be someone that you admire, you don't have to be at this stage or that stage or whatever. You just need to be moving that needle, and you need to be owning that fact. You need to be doing it consistently. It doesn't matter where you're at, because we're always going to be progressing. It's not like, oh, I'm going to be happy and satisfied once I'm all the way up here. It's like, no, I'm going to be happy and satisfied when I'm moving in a positive direction. Let it be a momentary thing, because satisfaction with yourself, that's something that has to exist in the present moment. And the only way it can really exist consistently in the present moment is if you are presently being someone that you like. And if you don't like who you're being right now in this moment, then stop being that person in this moment and choose to be a better person in this moment. And that's the best you can do at any given time, because we're all going to fall. We're all going to fail. We're all going to go backward, and we're all going to experience hardship. And you're going to come to this point where it's like, all right, well, let's get back on track. And as long as I'm doing the work to get back on track authentically, maybe that means looking at how I failed, looking at how I screwed up, and facing some uncomfortable things, that's the work. That's the work. You're trading the comfort for the clarity, for the rewiring, for the insight, the growth, whatever it is you need. And, that's the game. So hopefully this has helped inform you on how to manage your comfort better so that you can become a high-powered comfort investor who can buy whatever the hell they want in this life with it. And so if you like this, please subscribe, please, leave a comment below, and let me know what you guys think. I love hearing your feedback on everything, and any future topic suggestions, that sort of stuff, whatever. You guys know how YouTube works. I don't need to say all this stuff. Stay sharp. I'll see you in the next one.